The trophy I never wanted to win. I'm officially the world's worst wife of 2024. My prize? A divorce and a beautiful glass mansion where all the other winners live. My ex-husband nominated me for this prestigious award because last year I stopped greeting him at the door, I avoided intimacy like the plague, and I absolutely refused to cook his favorite meals anymore. And you know what? I seconded that nomination myself, because there was a time when doing all those things brought me genuine joy. Let me take you back to how I earned this title. The door that stopped opening. My shift ended before his. Every single day, I'd position myself by that front door, practically bouncing with excitement, ready to throw it open the second I heard his keys. I'd wrap my arms around him, kiss him, make him feel like the most important person in the world. But every single time, his hand would come up between us. Not violent, not aggressive, just a gentle pushback. The universal sign for, not now, I'm exhausted, give me space. 7 years. 7 years of that same hand creating distance between us. 7 years of my enthusiasm being met with rejection. So eventually, I just stopped going to the door altogether. He couldn't understand why I'd changed. The scars he couldn't see past. I had a breast reduction surgery. My back was screaming at me constantly, and honestly, I just wanted to wear normal clothes that actually fit my body. The recovery was going amazingly well, and I was so incredibly excited because for the first time in years, I could actually find lingerie in my size. Now, I need to mention that I was significantly heavier back then, but I didn't care. I felt beautiful, I felt confident. I spent time picking out this gorgeous set, put it on, and nervously walked into our bedroom to show my husband. I wanted him to see how well everything was healing, how good I felt about myself. He looked at me with complete disgust and said, "I'm not paying that doctor another red cent. You look revolting. I thought this surgery was supposed to remove fat, not leave it there and carve scars into concrete." He apologized a few hours later, said he was tired, stressed, didn't mean it. But I didn't want his apology intimacy. The damage was already embedded in my brain, playing on repeat every time I looked in the mirror. He couldn't understand why I kept turning him down after that. The scoreboard nobody asked for. Then I lost 95 pounds. Nearly 100 pounds of weight gone. I was working hard, feeling healthier, and slowly building my confidence back up. But by this point, my husband had started something new. He was keeping a running tally, an actual count of every single time I rejected his advances. And he wasn't keeping it private. No, he was sharing these numbers with his friends regularly, comparing me to their wives like we were athletes with performance statistics. I only found out because their wives told me. Not in a mean way, more like a concerned girlfriend intervention. They'd quietly mention how I always lost in these group chat comparisons. They weren't bragging about winning. They were trying to warn me that my husband was talking about me with complete contempt to anyone who would listen. But I wasn't overweight anymore. I finally felt brave enough to dig out that lingerie I had bought years earlier. It was loose on my smaller frame, but I adjusted the straps, made it work as best I could, and I felt pretty for the first time in what seemed like forever. I walked out and asked, "What do you think?" He looked at me up and down slowly, then said, "Would you ever consider getting implants? You lost all your chest when you lost the weight." I never wore lingerie again. I continued turning him down. He couldn't understand why. The kitchen that went cold. I used to cook exclusively his favorite dinners every single night. I genuinely loved the entire process, making the shopping list, browsing the grocery store, preparing everything, arranging his plate beautifully while he relaxed and watched videos. All of it brought me satisfaction. But his favorites changed. And he never told me what the new ones were. He'd call me on his drive home and say, "Actually, I don't want that tonight. Just put it in the fridge. Maybe I'll eat it later this week before it goes bad. I'm just going to grab Taco Bell on the way." And somewhere along the line, my own appetite disappeared. I just stopped being hungry. So I stopped cooking elaborate meals that nobody wanted. Then I stopped eating regularly at all. One random morning, I stepped on the scale and realized I weighed less than I did at 14 years old. I was vanishing. Still, he'd occasionally come home hungry, expecting dinner to be ready. When there was nothing prepared, he added those instances to his other running tally, updating his friends about his wife who couldn't even manage basic household tasks anymore. But I still wasn't hungry, so I'd forget meals were even supposed to happen. He couldn't understand why. The glass mansion I didn't know I was building. Eventually, I was just sad all the time. Sad wife wasn't entertaining for him to be around. So despite being married and sharing a home, we became strangers living parallel lives. I never saw him. He never saw me. By this point, I was having weekly panic attacks, the kind where you genuinely believe you're dying. Your chest tightens, you can't breathe, your vision tunnels, and you're absolutely convinced this is it. And I had hives, constantly. Somewhere on my body, there were hives from 2018 until 2024. 6 years of my skin rebelling against something I couldn't identify. If I read this story about someone else, I'd probably say, "Girl, wake up. He's obviously cheating on you." But I'm definitely awake now. I just don't have concrete proof, so I won't throw stones while living in this worst wife winner's glass mansion that I now call home. This story isn't about what he might have done anyway. It's about how I earned my way here. And honestly, it's kind of beautiful here in its own strange way. The light hits the glass at just the perfect angle most days, making everything sparkle more brilliantly than that diamond ring I left behind at my old house. Plus, I haven't had a single hive breakout or panic attack in 10 months. I wonder why. Signed, The World's Worst Wife of 2024. Edit. Thank you all so incredibly much. Reading through these comments has been overwhelming in the best possible way. I love that so many of you found support, camaraderie, and encouragement here. I'm so grateful that other world's worst partners feel understood and seen. Thank you for sharing your personal stories. Knowing I'm not the only world's worst makes this journey feel less lonely. Secondly, I'm genuinely at a loss for words about how many of you have encouraged me to explore writing further. I had no idea strangers would think of me as talented, especially with the incredibly kind words some of you used. I feel encouraged to create and grow in ways I never expected. I'm learning so much about myself these days that I never knew was there. Your encouragement means more than I could ever properly express. Thank you for every single kind word. Related comments. Oh, honey, you weren't the worst wife. You were a woman who kept trying until she had absolutely nothing left to give. I went through something eerily similar with my ex. The constant rejection, the cruel comment disguised as honesty, the scorekeeping like our marriage was some kind of sport. When I finally left, my panic attacks stopped too. Isn't it wild how our bodies literally scream at us to get out before our minds fully catch up? That 10 months of no hives or panic attacks, that's your body finally feeling safe again. You didn't fail at being a wife. You succeeded at surviving. Wishing you all the healing and happiness in your glass mansion. You deserve every sparkle. Comment. I'm probably going to get downvoted into oblivion for this, but I feel like we're only hearing one side here. Like, did you ever actually sit him down and have a real conversation about how his comments were affecting you? Marriage is communication, and it sounds like both of you just stopped talking and started keeping score in your own ways. He was wrong for the comments about your body, absolutely, but completely stopping cooking, stopping intimacy, basically checking out of the marriage without trying counseling or therapy first? I don't know. It feels like you both gave up. Sometimes the worst partner is just someone who stopped fighting for the relationship. Not excusing his behavior at all, just saying marriage takes two people trying. Comment. Wait, I need more context about something. You mentioned the wives telling you about the group chat comparisons. Did any of them ever suggest you should leave, or did they just report the information and move on? Because if my husband's friend was talking about his wife like that, I'd be telling her to run, not just casually mentioning she's losing some gross competition. Also, did you ever confront him about the group chat stuff? I'm just curious how he reacted when you knew what he was saying behind your back. Comment. The part about waiting at the door absolutely destroyed me. My boyfriend does this exact thing. Not 7 years, but we're at year 3 now, and I still wait by the door like an idiot, even though I know he's going to walk past me to immediately get on his computer. I keep telling myself it'll change, that he's just stressed from work, that I'm being too needy. Reading your story feels like looking into a crystal ball of my future, and I absolutely hate what I'm seeing. Did you ever think about leaving earlier? What made you stay for 7 years of that? Comment. Unpopular opinion, but the whole glass mansion metaphor is a bit much. You're literally admitting you stopped doing anything in the marriage. No intimacy, no cooking, basically became a roommate, and you're surprised he was frustrated. Yeah, his comments were cruel, and he handled it terribly, but you completely checked out instead of addressing the issues. Also, the "I don't have proof he cheated, so I won't mention it, but here I am mentioning it" is manipulative storytelling. Either you think he cheated or you don't. This whole post reads like someone who wants validation for quitting without actually trying to fix anything. You both sound exhausting, honestly. Comment: that line about weighing less than you did at 14 absolutely broke my heart. That's not worst wife behavior. That's trauma response. Your body was literally trying to disappear because existing in that space was unbearable. Please tell me you're seeing a therapist now? Those panic attacks and the weight loss and the hives, that's severe chronic stress and possibly PTSD. I'm so glad you're out and healing, but please make sure you're processing all of this with a professional. You deserve to rebuild yourself in that glass mansion, not just exist in it. Also, please write more. You have a genuine gift for expressing pain in a way that makes people really feel it. That's rare and valuable. Write what you think about this situation. Also, if you like this video, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the bell to receive notifications about the latest videos. See you next time. Bye-bye.